YouTube, catch me while you can. You are live. Just told me I'm live. All right, look, I'm sitting here doing my morning time thing. I woke up this morning and had some thoughts about Snatch and did that, put it out. And then I'm just, sitting here looking at some things and Taylor Hawkins comes up. And I did read this before I watched Snatch last night and then forgot all about it because of Snatch. This has got to be said. So I'm going to say it. Wow. Looks like Home Theater Joe, your boy, Joe Woody, I was all kinds of wrong. So everything I'm about to say here is speculation at best on my part. But, excuse me. But still, this needs to be said. All right. Taylor Hawkins, I said yesterday that he may have been vegetarian or vegan because I had looked at a couple of recent shots, photos of Taylor Hawkins. And it's not a big man, pretty skinny. Um, but man, I did not think it was like it was. So, hey, maybe this dude eats whatever. Okay. Let's just forget about that. I thought that may have been a reason for his smaller stature, not much muscle mass, yada, yada. Well, turns out that dude was on lots of drugs. We'll get there. Um, I had mentioned yesterday that, and I still feel this way. It This could be vaccine related, right? This could be jab related. So, man, but we can't ignore the obvious here. So let me share the screen and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on what I think is going on here. And as usual, I'm probably totally wrong. So I had to search for this for a minute. But wait a second here. Sorry. Let me make sure. Okay. Yeah, that's where I want it to be. Um, so we keep hearing 10 different types of drugs, multiple drugs were found in his system, including opiates, antidepressants, and marijuana were found in Hawkins' system at the time of death. The first report that I read yesterday actually said more than this one, but I couldn't find it. And they did list a couple of other drugs, and it was, this is reporting the same thing about 10 different types of drugs. The obvious is all of these, even marijuana, could have been prescribed. Everything he was taking, he, unless it was straight heroin, which it could have been, he did have a problem with that. I read yesterday in the early 2000s. Could be prescription, but look, guys, antidepressants, you're not getting that off the streets. The other drugs that were listed in the other report, you're not getting those off the streets. So why does this dude have so much prescription medication in his system? That's one question I have. Okay. Let's get out of here. We don't need to share that anymore because, because we don't. So all this prescription medication in the system, right? And yeah, maybe I'm dumb. Maybe this had nothing to do with the jab. However, I'm just sitting here thinking, most times when musicians pass or die, especially, I don't know how to say this. If it's not a car accident or something, if a musician dies, you don't get the toxicology report, you know, 36 hours later, 24 hours later. You just don't. So I'm wondering why that was fast tracked. Like, where's the privacy for the family? None. Just open, put out there on blast. Taylor Hawkins, his wife and 3 kids now have to hear about this. That's all they're hearing and seeing right now. Is how much drugs were in daddy's system. The drugs surely could not help. The reports I read yesterday were that a man was complaining of chest pain. And then by the time I think private ambulance got there, it was already too late for Taylor. Chest pain. Chest pain's indicative of, I can't, man, I'm not a doctor. Okay. I'm clearly speculating here. Chest pain is usually a sign of heart trouble, right? And all of a sudden, I think I may have said this yesterday or the day before, whatever. It's normal now. Maybe I didn't say this on YouTube, but it's normal. Normal for young people to have cardiac arrest. This is just the new normal. Granted, Taylor Hawkins was 50 years old. He wasn't a spring chicken, but by no means an old man. Um, and let's just say he had kept this drug usage um, since 2000. Yeah, this guy was going to die. I mean, that's what drugs and alcohol do to you. I happen to know a good bit about drugs and alcohol. So if anybody ever watches my stuff, if anybody ever tunes into to anything I have to say, if you have any questions about drugs or alcohol, you can ask your boy. Now, I've never done heroin. There's some things that obviously I haven't been involved with, but I can tell you all about drugs and alcohol, their consequences. I can tell you pretty much how you get there, what it's like when you're on them, and what it's like when you're not on them. I can tell you that too. So, anybody needs help or you know anything. I don't think I've ever said this before, but I want to make sure that my entire community knows that you can ask, and I will be very glad to share my experience and my 2 cents with anybody. Let me get back to the point here. I don't know how long Taylor Hawkins was abusing drugs and alcohol. You know, certainly if it had been the last 20 years, that could do it. But I just find it so funny that the tox report came out so quickly. Um, and I think, for my part, there's a little bit of, well, he's just a musician, and it's just, nah. I'm. There's a big piece of me that's holding on to what I said yesterday or the day before, which was in a band that's as big as they are all across the world. Every single person in that van, they got the jab. They're up to date. I promise you. I think about that, and then the fact that this coroner's report, this preliminary coroner's report, came out so quickly. And I think about the fact that Taylor Hawkins is obviously a rock and roll musician. And I think all of it makes perfect sense. This is probably why the man died. In all honesty, this is probably, drugs and alcohol. But in 2022, I can't believe anything. Hey, oh, whoa, just weed for me, brother. Yeah, is that even a drug anymore? Although I dabbed when younger, never H though or crack. No, dude, no, no, and yeah, brother, it's good to see you, GC. By the way, appreciate you, my friend. Let's go ahead and we'll just stick that one up here. Give that a little star. Yeah, I don't even know if we can consider weed a drug. I don't. I never really considered marijuana a drug. I just never have. Although it is, and that's part of my experience too. I mean, a lot of people think marijuana is not harmful. A lot of people think that you can just smoke weed and everything's fine. Well, that's not the case either, man. I'll tell you the truth about weed. I love weed. I love marijuana, but I know the truth about it. And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the commercials where some kid sitting down in their basement, excuse me, some 30-year-old man sitting down in his parents' basement smoking weed. They're like, this is your brain on drugs stuff. Yeah, dude. Weed kills motivation, man. If you're sitting around smoking weed all day, every day, chances are the only thing you're doing is sitting around. You're not going out, um, playing sports or whatever. You might just be watching movies on your couch. That's what happens a lot. So weed is that's a whole different topic. But let's see, marijuana definitely been harmful for me. Yeah, man. I mean, most Most people don't realize, but marijuana is actually classified as a hallucinogen. And if you eat enough of it, you will hallucinate. Um, so, yeah, and marijuana destroys motivation, man. I've been around it since I was probably 13 years old. I didn't start smoking when I was 30. I had a lot of friends. I used to want to be a police officer, so I was like, no, I'm not into that. But from a very early age, I've been around it, involved, and even to this day. So yeah, marijuana can definitely um, be a little more harmful than people realize. Again, I think it comes to motivation. It destroys motivation. Uh, I'm way off topic here. Tyler Hawkins seems to me like, at first, I mean, I haven't even said this yet, but I should say this again. First of all, my empathy, my sympathies go out to his wife, his children, and it is a tragedy. This guy is one of the greatest drummers, great musician, and by all accounts, just a great person. So I do want to say that, and my condolences to his family, all the Foo Fighters fans. But I'm having a real problem with this, and I know that the likely scenario is drugs and alcohol took their toll. Why did that preliminary coroner's report come out so quickly, y'all? Why? That is bugging me. That's really bugging me. And I think it's really irresponsible. Those are just some questions that I'm having a hard time with right now. Why? And I think it's because, um, quite simply, that would be a better option or a better narrative than this jab that we've given emergency use for, or whatever, the last year, year and a half, however long it's been going on, is actually harmful and hurting people. I myself know multiple people, more than one, that have passed at a very young age. Just healthy human being walking around, have passed, died from heart complications. One of them, I don't know personally, was a 27-year-old male, never had a health issue in his life, fell over dead 3 weeks after the jab. I don't want to keep going on and on. It's very sad. And if I think about it real hard, I think there's about 4 to 5 people, maybe 3 to 4 people that um, I know indirectly that have passed since the jab. It's happening a lot. If you just pay attention to the news, which I don't, I haven't, and I get my information from other sources. I'm not a QAnon person. Okay, I'm not watching Fox News, seeing it. To be quite fair, most of a lot of the information I get is just from reading and YouTube, man. A lot of independent guys on YouTube. So, what was my point there? Um, Short-term memory loss. It's a terrible thing. I don't know. I totally spaced out on the point that I was trying to make. Um, anyway, I'll just go back to Taylor Hawkins, and hopefully it'll come back to me. I can tell you where it was. There are so many young people now. We're talking teenagers, y'all. Teenagers, young adults. For the teenagers, it's usually on a field of sport, track and field, baseball, football, or practice. These people have been dropping dead, young and healthy. You have a lot of um, late 20s, 30s, and even 40-year-old men and women, mostly men, I believe, at the gym, working out, anywhere from 30 to 90 days after their jab, and they die, cardiac arrest. So the Taylor Hawkins report of chest pain, that And also in the drug report, um, I didn't see cocaine listed in the original report, but I do believe one of them was the same thing. I think cocaine and meth are classified as like it starts with an M. I don't remember the word, but I believe that was in there. So no telling. Maybe he was on a hard stimulant, but we know he had chest pains, so we're pretty sure it's had something to do with the heart. Um, I'm fairly certain. I bet my bottom dollar he was up to date on all his jabs, up to date. So that's another thing. Um, and just to be clear, I would never tell anybody what to do with their body, um, what they should or shouldn't do. That's not my role. I just connect dots to myself. And as y'all know, my time on YouTube's limited. I don't care what I say. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. YouTube can flush everything I say away. This was never this was never a thing for me where I was going to look back like through a photo album. I just assumed one day all of it would be gone. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to keep rambling on about the same thing. I just needed to get that out. I got to kind of start my day. It's a little after 8 a.m. here on a Sunday morning. And there was some UFC last night. I feel like I should go into that too. Oh, my Lord. I don't have time for all this stuff. So I got to kind of get out of here. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Taylor Hawkins situation. Um, just so many things aren't. Hey, maybe I'm dumb. You know, I do dumb things a lot. And per usual, I could be wrong. I could be totally off on this, but I don't like it. I don't like it one bit, y'all. So, uh, my final thoughts here for today on this are going to be empathy, condolences, well wishes go out to Taylor Hawkins' wife and children, um, to the bandmates, and to all the fans, man. I'm sorry for your loss. And Taylor Hawkins, by all accounts, was just a great person. And we know he was an incredible drummer. Um, so, very sad. And yeah, that's what it is. I'm going to cut out on that because I don't want to keep talking about Taylor Hawkins in the light I have been the last couple of days. It's a tragedy and a shame he's gone. I'm really not happy about it. But I'm just going to speak my mind while I can. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. Yeah. If you guys have any questions or comments, good, better, and different, go ahead and just drop them down below. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm done. All right. As always. Right? Yeah. Thank you for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom. Boom.